Welcome back. Now I hope that you are able to implement CSS on your document and that you have done a lot of practice with it. In this section, I'm going to introduce you to what is called HTML selectors. It does not mean we have not seen some already. We have. Like for instance, the class is a selector. The ID that we had, ID equals sub title. This is also another selector. So we can call this, so I can go with this here, and then I do ID of that, and then I'm going to give it color red, and go back here, refresh, gives it that color. So these are what are known as HTML selectors. I mean CSS selectors. There are others. You must not call everything by the title that you have here. Now notice that this tag is what we have applied the class of heading and given it the CSS style that gives it the color green. All right. Now, the moment this is an HTML tag, you do not necessarily need to call a class here if you do not want to apply this in multiple documents, or maybe if you don't want to limit yourself to how many H1s you want this to apply, the formatting to apply to. If I remove that and I reload this document, this color disappears because I have removed the class, so it doesn't know where to apply this. But how about if I maybe came here and added a H1? Now H1 is not a class and it is also not an ID. It is a tag. So it is an HTML tag. If I refresh this, my color will come back here. Now this is because also HTML tags can be used as selectors. But there is going to be a little difference here. Notice that if I copy and paste this, and maybe I say here, I love to teach code. I love to teach code. I refresh. Notice that this one also is coming with green color. Reason is because we have given it the same H1. So this teaches us that if you do this H1, then you give it a color, it will mean that every item that has the H1 tag is going to get this CSS applied to them. So if we had H2 here, the H2 will not get the green color because that is not H1, it is H2. So look at that. This is H2, so it doesn't have the green color. But if it is H1, then well, green is going to be applied to them because that is what we have said here. This is another HTML CSS selector that applies to any other selector that you have, whether it is a paragraph, whether it is OL, anything. You can use HTML tags as selectors in CSS. Now if I did not want this to be green, then I will not do this. Instead, I will retain the class, right? And then I'm going to add this class to only the tag where I want the color to turn green. Okay, if I refresh this now, you notice that this one is green, this one is not green, because I have used a class here to tell you that I want this CSS, this specific piece of code, to be applied to only an element with a class of heading. All right, so that's perfect. I hope you can understand that. So selectors can be classes, can be IDs, can also be HTML tags. So make some practice with that, and I will see you in the next section.